as usual, I had a different idea what I wanted episode 7 to be, but plans change. And today is actually not Thanksgiving anymore. It was Thanksgiving, which was November 24th, 2022, but today is actually the 25th because I am recording in the morning, in the early morning at 1:40 a.m. right now. And I think this episode will be a sort of Thanksgiving special. The reason I wanted to actually record an episode today, not because of Thanksgiving, more of again my ego being bruised and me feeling kind of like a shit human being because of things I do in the relationship. Honestly, now that I keep thinking about it, with how much I keep messing up over and over again, I really think maybe it's worth to just break up, because I just can't see straight, and I don't know. It's really rough. It's what I'm kind of rambling already. It's been a minute in, so let's first set the scene. So today is the day after Thanksgiving. In fact, it's actually Black Friday. Maybe I'll call this the Black Friday special. Um, yeah. And basically, I had a long phone conversation with Michelle, and it was rough. Um, Basically, going into the conversation, already she was conflicted, not very happy. I think it was because of talking with people about the relationship again, and she just didn't feel like I was doing things again. So the main issue was that I felt like I was not demonstrating that I actually wanted the relationship to continue. And the way that she felt it wasn't being demonstrated was wondering, didn't understand reasoning behind why I didn't ask her to go anywhere for Thanksgiving and winter break. Well, so I already said this over the phone call, but I guess for completeness sake, we'll go over everything, and then we can go about my reactions afterwards. And man, I was actually thinking of doing a longer episode, but I'm already sleepy right now. It's already 1:45, so we'll maybe keep this one more bridged and shorter. How it goes. So over the phone call, she said this, right? She said that the main reason she was, or something that was troubling her, was basically she couldn't understand or think of a good, compelling reason why I didn't ask her to do anything for Thanksgiving or winter break. And this kind of led her to think that I was not actually, it was something that she wanted me to do. So one of the things she's mentioned was like, I wanted to do something with him over these breaks, but it had to come from him. Like it had to be initiated from him, because something that she felt was lacking for me was that I was always too passive and didn't initiate things myself. And I think, just as a small aside, I think she is correct on many regards on that point. I do not initiate in a lot of the things that I think she likes, like going out to specific places and doing specific things. I think I do initiate, like any human being, on things that I really like doing. So things like asking if she wants to play ping pong or pool, playing video games, asking if she wants to come over, play board games, do some talking, um, things that I really prefer to do. And really, I am not a very, I'm kind of a shallow person in that I really enjoy just staying in, playing video games, doing things like that, going out to eat as well sometimes. But she is not as much into that, and she has other things that she likes to do, like going out to go to dates. Some specific actions that she mentioned were like holding hands, and I guess in those regards, the things that I'm not as passionate about to the point where I would like self-initiate them, right? I just don't am much more passive about it, and I think she's completely right in that regard. So the part that she was not very happy about was like me being passive and initiating if we wanted to hang out together over Thanksgiving or winter break. And my reasoning for not wanting to do it was for Thanksgiving break, there's some things. First one is I didn't really want to leave Pittsburgh. I think I'm comfortable being in Pittsburgh as I've been in Pittsburgh for the past in freshman and junior year, just staying over. And it was a good enough time for me. Restful break. I also thought that um, throughout this semester, she's indicated that she doesn't want to stay in Pittsburgh and she wants like scenery change. As feels that Pittsburgh does not bring the best of her, and honestly, being somewhere else will help her just reestablish and get to a better place and have reestablish her mindset and be better mentally in terms of being more productive, but also feeling happier. So I didn't want to ask her to stay because that would just be going against it and would be going against everything that she's indicated throughout this. And then the third thing is part of me, it's kind of related to the first reason, which is being comfortable staying in Pittsburgh, is that traveling anywhere um, costs money, right? And it costs money to go to places. And I just didn't want to do that as I'm already going to be forking over money for a winter break trip. Um, and lastly, I think the I would say what would I say? Um, God, I'm already being derailed. I don't know. It's kind of late. Oh, should I really still be recording this? No, I need to do. Sorry, audience, for being so rambly. Not a very coherent episode, but I felt like I need to get this out here because it's Thanksgiving. I'm having troubles and not feeling the greatest, but I also am feeling very thankful for what I do have as well. And I feel like I need to share that. We're gonna get through this. Um, yeah, she felt like okay. I don't remember what I was saying, but basically, like the Thanksgiving, the reasons why I didn't want to go is like I felt comfortable. I didn't want to spend money. Felt like she had to get out of Pittsburgh, so I didn't want to ask her to stay. And I think the fourth reason was one possible compromise could have been that I could go with her to her house, but what the reason I gave her was that I still feel kind of awkward meeting her parents. This is kind of true. I feel like I could have done it, but I think the main reason is it's kind of drilled into me that for Thanksgiving, it's supposed to be kind of private and with close friends and family. And I just felt like if I was going over with her to Thanksgiving, I felt like I'd be intruding because I hadn't yet developed any kind of relationship or rapport with her parents, whether that be her dad or with her brother. And I talked with her mom a little bit. I felt like it kind of got a little awkward or wasn't the greatest start. I just don't really know what to like talk about, right? When we met that one time when she came. Um, so I just wasn't 100% sure what like that was all about. And um, yeah. Um, so it just didn't feel right going to her. I couldn't think of this when I was first describing why I didn't want to go. So like feeling awkward is like part of it, but the main thing is I feel like I'm intruding. If I haven't developed already a strong enough relationship with at least most of the people that are going to be there. Like really, I only knew Michelle, right? I don't know her mom, I don't know her dad, I don't know her brother. I don't know whatever other family friends are going to be. And this might have been true for like the Friendsgiving thing, but I'd already a lot of the people that I went to like with the Friendsgiving thing year before was I already knew a lot of them as friends, right? So even if we weren't the closest of friends, I at least developed a baseline of rapport and relationship status with them. And that just wasn't the case with her family, the rest of her family, whatever other people would have been there at the Thanksgiving, right? So it just didn't feel right to go. And I don't know. I feel like this is a very individual thing. Maybe the reasoning wouldn't be valid or wouldn't make sense to other people because it actually seems like a lot of the time she has different feelings and she thinks that the reasons that I give just don't make sense. Um, Case in point, why did I not want to go with her and suggest like we do something over winter break? I was thinking of that. And I did kind of think of maybe we should do something. But the main thing that came into question, so reasons why I didn't really suggest anything before um before when she first suggested that we might be breaking up was I hadn't even thought that far ahead. I wasn't even thinking about winter break plans yet at that point. It was like all the way in August or September, and I just don't think that far ahead into the future. I guess the second thing is um, once she had told me that there was the possibility we weren't going to stay together, and I didn't want to go on a winter break trip with somebody when I was unsure if we were going to be together or not. And the reason is if she decided that we're not going to be together, then this is just it'll be awkward and kind of a painful, maybe not awkward because we still are probably on good terms, right? But it'll be a painful trip. It'll just be like this is going to be the last time we see each other and it just doesn't make sense when I could be going on winter break trips with people that I will continue to have meaningful relationships as opposed to gonna break up. It just wouldn't make sense. And that uncertainty was the main fuel for why I didn't want to like go on any kind of trip with her, right? So the reason why I had described this reasoning to her before, but she had been thinking about it more and she thought that it was a weak reason. And the reason why she thought it was a weak reason was because she felt that if I really truly wanted the relationship to continue and to go well, right, then I would try and do anything to make her happy and make her feel like this relationship should continue. And part of that would be initiating and asking her go somewhere for winter break, right? Um, and that was just not like that line of thinking makes sense, but only if it was being used as a way to try and convince her to stay, right? But to me, it didn't make sense because the winter break trip would be during winter break, which should be after the end of the semester, and I wanted to resolve whether or not we would be together by the end of the semester. So then that wouldn't make sense to use that as a convincing tactic because I'd be trying to convince her after I would have wanted a decision already be made. Now, I described this to her as well, and I don't know if she believes me, or not believes me, but if she thinks that's a good reason or not. And I think the main thing that I want to talk about today, again, this is my podcast, so it's going to be a lot of selfish thoughts, right? But we'll try and be self reflective as well, not just be fully selfish. But, you know, it's really painful to just the ego and also just to my mental state. And that's not to say that it's not justified, right? Because most of what she brings up, I think it's all, I shouldn't say most of it, I should say all of what she brings up, they're all valid things. And they're all things that should be brought up as she's advocating for things to be better in the relationship, right? And that's what she wants. And, but, selfishly thinking, all these things that are always brought up, and this is just something that happens in the relationship as well. It always feels like I'm always not good enough. And it's always me that is failing in the relationship. And this is not always true because I've, at least recently, brought up one or two things before to her as well as things to improve. But, it's always easy to discount those. And I think if I'm being fair as well, just assessing all of the times, it definitely feels like she brings up things more than I bring up things. Now, what does that mean? Maybe in a fair assessment, this is perfectly fine because I am the more flawed one. And, or another like parallel could be complementary reason is that she's better advocate for herself and in improving things that she wants to improve in the relationship. And for me, I guess like both of those reasons could be correct, either one of them or both. And they probably are correct. I think they are correct. Selfishly thinking, though, no matter how correct they are, the main fact is that I'm being flamed. Flamed is such a harsh word. I am being brought up with issues more. And it's kind of frequent in the regard that it's just been like week after week, these things keep being brought up. And, if you're being frank and fair about it, what should be said is that I should just fix these issues so then she wouldn't bring it up, right? But I'm thinking selfishly right now. And the selfish thinking is, it just hurts, man. It's like, how am I not a good enough person to where these issues just keep being brought up? And how are other people perceiving me? How are other people perceiving? So what I mean by that is she said that she had implied to her mom before that we were probably going to break up. And then when she went home to Thanksgiving, her mom was like kind of surprised when we hadn't actually broken up. And apparently her mom had asked her, why did you have like a change of heart? Why are you guys now still staying together? And what Michelle had said was he had improved in some things. And then her mom said, but seems like in other things he hadn't improved. And she said, yeah. So then her mom said, so it seems like there really wasn't much improvement at all. Now, this is just me hearing that. It was just a painful thing to hear. This is just like, fuck, man. I am just not giving good impressions to everybody. And, you know, me as a human being, I do want to be liked and to give good impressions, right? Even to, especially to people that will, if I stay with Michelle, be around in her life permanently, which means I should probably have good relations with them. And I just somehow seem to be screwing this up over and over again. And I just don't know how I'm such a bad human being. I try my best. I think I do. But now that I think about it, maybe I don't. I think I do try, but am I trying the hardest I can? Sometimes I just feel like I'm too selfish to be in a relationship, and maybe I really am hurting her, and maybe it really is worth for both of us to break up. Because maybe I want to just live selfishly, and maybe I am really not ready to. And then that selfish part of me thinks back, and I'm like, I want this relationship for myself. I'm being selfish, and this is something I want. So then I want to fight to continue it. And again, this is very selfish thinking because I'm only thinking about how it's affecting me. I'm not thinking about how can I improve this for her. And this was something that I brought up as well. I was like, I feel like part of how I think is thinking about thinking about uh, part of how I think is just thinking about not thinking about how it will make her happy, right? It's more just thinking about how will it benefit. And I shouldn't be doing that. And I brought that up to her. And I feel like lately I've been having a better mindset in thinking about it as a we versus the problems instead of me versus the problem to try and fix it, right? And it's like thinking, how can I better have it so that it benefits both of us and makes us both happy? Instead of just, I got to do this to make her happy. It's not going to make me happy in something I'm just begrudgingly doing. Um, yeah. Okay. This is not going to be the Thanksgiving special because I don't think I'm going to have the energy to keep talking about things I'm thankful for. I'll do that tomorrow as the post Thanksgiving special. And today, this episode is more going to just be me just talking through because feel like I feel like I kind of feel like crap right now. Not very good for a number of reasons. And I always just feel like I'm not good enough person. And Man, man, ah, hard to even explain, right? I think the main thing is just I feel like a bad person because I think selfishly about fixing problems. I think about how can I best fix it in the quickest way possible that will resolve the issue, but without actually thinking about it as a long-term solution. And then I also just what leads to this thinking is that the problems come up at anyway, and it's because I'm not good enough, and it just feels like I'm a bad person and I don't know how to fix it. I don't know. Well, I do know how to fix it. Like, she gives me reasons, and I feel like I should be working towards fixing them, but somehow there's always new reasons, and selfishly, I'm just like, how are there always new reasons? Am I really this much of a bad person? I can't think of anything. I can't act in the right way. That she just has to keep bringing things up. How is it that I'm such a bad person that she's such a saint that I never have to bring anything up with her? It's such selfish thinking because, of course, uh, I don't know, man. I feel I think I'm a bad person because I'm lazy and don't want to change. I think this is just the underlying thing has just plaguing this relationship, and whenever there's an issue, it's just I'm comfortable with where and who I am, and I don't want to change, and I'm selfish in that I want other people to change to me. I don't want to change to them. And then this causes issues because she has problems, and then I feel like, wow, there's always problems with me. How can she not adapt? Truth is, she probably does adapt and she makes compromises, and I just have issues that I can't fix. And I really don't know. I think I'm a bad person. And I don't know. God, man. I don't know. I just want her to be happy. Maybe, uh, I feel like if I can't get over this last part, I can't fix these issues when we go long distance, I'm not gonna fight anymore. And it's time to just break it up, right? Because then it really will just be incompatibility. And besides just incompatibility, I think it will really just be me not being ready for a relationship and what it entails. I think I'd still be too selfish at that point, and I don't think I'm ready to actually be in a relationship if it comes to that point. Uh, I don't know. I not feeling whenever these relationships come up, it always just makes me very conflicted because it makes me sad and not like who I am. And then I think about how I'm so solo focused on how it's making me feel that I'm not thinking first place. She brought up these issues because it's making her sad, and then I'm seemingly not giving a fuck about that. I'm just, you know, only focusing on myself and how it makes me feel. Oh, fuck, man. And it's, I don't know how to fix it. I don't know how to not think selfish. How do you not default to being selfish, thinking about yourself, more and foremost? I'm a bad, selfish person. I'm going to try and target, fix these issues. But just telling you right now, listening to this, maybe in the future you'll hear what really happened. I'm worried that I'm not going to be able to do it because just knowing how much of a selfish person I am, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it. And I think this selfishness, like one of the ways I've convinced myself that I'm not selfish prior, like in the years past, is like I know for sure that I can do selfless things, unselfish things, like do unselfish acts, and help out people even if it's to my detriment. I know I can do that, and I know that I've done that before. And because I've done that before, I convince myself that I'm not a selfish person. I think the difference is those are all temporary things. They're all one-time things. I'm doing a loss now, but I can sustain that. I can do one-time losses and do unselfish things and selfless things to help out other people because I feel like it's worth it. I feel like I have the good feeling that is necessary to be unselfish where it feels good to help other people even if it's to your detriment. The thing is that makes me selfish is at least I don't know if this is still true, but definitely perhaps it is still true. I feel like I can only do that for one time things. If it really involves changing my behavior for the long time, then I start thinking selfishly and I'm like, why should I change? Why should they not just adapt or change or just then just fuck off? And I don't think I can do that. I don't think I should do that, Michelle, because that's just not fair. I'm afraid, man. I'm afraid. I'm afraid, audience. I am afraid that I'm not gonna be able to overcome this. This is gonna be my inner demon. It's gonna haunt me for the rest of my life. And yeah. Oh. I'll have another episode hopefully tomorrow. Um yeah, hopefully tomorrow. And I think it'll be a much more positive one. I'm gonna focus on the things that I'm thankful for. There's a lot of things I'm thankful for. In a very good position in my life. I have to be. Hopefully, this wasn't too depressing for you all. I'm sorry about that. Next episode will be better. I will improve. I must tell that to myself. I must have confidence. I can do this for myself. So I don't. What's even the point of trying? what's even the point of fucking continuing? I don't. See you next time.